Hello, beautiful souls. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody is doing well and that you're safe and nourished, even despite the intensity of the past week. I know, it's been really intense for me, and I hope you're all doing well. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been with me here before, welcome back. What we're going to do today is a week ahead reading, and we're going to incorporate a beacon card. So for anybody who hasn't been here before, I'm going to give you a rundown of what that is. So beacon cards are calculated based on the date, and it can be for a day, a week, a month. The year has a beacon card, like 2020 reduces down to 4. So for the beginning of the week, I use Sunday as the beacon card for the week. So since today is June 7th, we're going to do 6 plus 7 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 is 17. So that's how beacon cards work. And that reduces down to the star. So this is what we're working with this week. And let me jump back to the past week. Since we did a month ahead video, I didn't do a week ahead video for last week. But what we were working with for the previous week was the death card. And we actually had 2 days of death. So Sunday was a 13. And then we jumped back to justice on Monday for June 1st. So then we saw the death card again on Wednesday. So that's a lot of transformational energy to be working with. And then, we cycled through, hangman and then death. And then devil, what else am I missing? Sorry, temperance, and then the devil and the tower. So that's a lot of transformational energy and, working with that death spiral, the death process. And, we see that with the protesters and, everything that happened with the police, and really seeing how, it's really not an accident that the tragic death of George Floyd happened, because they've been brutalizing so many of the protesters. And, I think for the people who were questioning it before, they really can't question it now. So we were working with that all week and really, calling ourselves into how we can transform ourselves and transform the collective. And we're going to be working with those justice themes all month. But that's the macrocosm. And within that is the microcosm of this week, and we're working with the star. And if you watched the video last week, you know that the last card that we pulled in the spread was the star. So it's really interesting to see that it's, it showed up last week and here it is again this week. So what I see is definitely, remaining hopeful, since what we're going through is really intense and, challenging, and we're all being called to step up in various ways, in the ways that we can. But it's also renewal. We need to renew ourselves and restore. The star comes after the tower, and the tower comes in to blow things up that were never really meant for you. So, and I see that as, as a society, we really weren't born, this country wasn't born, if you live in the US, on a foundation of equality. So, right now, even though the tower isn't present today, we are in a collective tower moment, and Mars energy is really strong. I'm in Aries, I know it, like we're fiery people, and it will come in, and it will clear. Like, I know in my personal life, I have no problem bringing in the tower. People are afraid of it, and I respect that. But, for me, when things are not serving me, like, they gotta go. And that's kind of what this moment is calling us into. So, that's really, really interesting energy. So after the tower comes the star. And, it's really just taking a breath and still remaining hopeful. We've been through so much that's intense, and by no means is that over. Like, we're still going to be going through this process for a long time. Life is spiralic, and I've learned a lot of that from taking Lindsay Mack's Tarot for the Wild Soul course. I'm in it right now, and it's wonderful. If you've never taken it or never heard of her, I highly recommend you look up her podcast. And that course offering is once a year. So if you haven't taken it, next year when it's open, I really suggest it. It has deepened my tarot practice so much. But it's a spiral, and we move through these cycles. So this week, with the star, we're really trying to remain hopeful in spite of all the intensity that's being thrown at us, and really trying to stay in our center. So this is what these themes will be coming up in the collective and individually as well. And with that in mind, this week I'm going to do a 5-card spread. Now this is usually my simple month ahead spread, but it can be used for weekly, daily, if you want to, if you want a 5-card spread for a day. But I'm going to adapt it. It's the same questions, but we're just going to look at the weekly energy. So I've already done a pre-shuffle, so I'm just going to do 3 shuffles and then deal these cards, and we'll see what comes out. Okay. So for our first card, it's we have the beacon card, but then we also want another card that's the overall energy of the week. And then what's our grounding energy? What are we being called to reflect on? And then what we're releasing and what we're embracing. So these are our cards. So let me just flip them over and let me check the back of the deck. Back of the deck energy is Queen of Cups in reverse. So I just pulled this yesterday, or maybe it was Friday. But this is really calling, and this is the back of the deck energy is really good information, us to really maintain our balance. We can really neglect our emotions sometimes and, really not check in and numb out because things are getting so crazy. Or we can make our emotions all there is and just get lost in a sea of being overwhelmed. So Queen of Cups in reverse is really saying, to try to do things that can level you out. Like, don't get completely swept away in, the tide of those emotions when they come in and take over, but then also don't shut down. So that's really important energy. So let's go ahead and flip our cards over and see what we have. Okay. So our central card, our overall theme, is the Hangman in reverse. So Hangman calls us into a bit of stillness, calls us to make a sacrifice. Sometimes, where we can't do what we want to do, or, we can't really take the action that we want to take. I mean, I see this really as just hanging out. So in the reverse, trying to think of what I would say for this, like maybe that we want to be still right now, and with the star, that's hope, but maybe we can't really do this. And I can see that where I'm really on the move, and there have been times where I'm like, hey, I want to take a rest, and things have been really hectic. My husband is back at work, and I'm home with my kindergartner. She's still in school, and I have a 2-year-old on top of, this community that I'm building. And sometimes I'm like, I really need to, take a chill pill. But when you have 2 kids at home, you really can't do that. You don't have as much freedom to rest, and it really is a sacrifice. So like, I can see that it can be one of 2 things. Like you really have to, take a rest and call yourself to do that, or like it's just not possible and you really need it. So this is something that can come up over the course of the week, and I see it as already being here. So with the Hangman, that's the central theme. Our grounding energy is strength. And this card definitely came up yesterday. I remember because I wrote about it. It came up in the reverse. And the strength card, this is courage. Like, it's not the patriarchal, heteronormative, masculine, and I hate using feminine and masculine, but that more outward, like, ooh, I'm strong. You know, this is more heart-centered courage. You know, this is a Leo card, and Leo rules the heart. So it's like, really, how can we do the brave thing, or how can we show up and be vulnerable? And that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength to show up as I am and just say, hey, you know, this is me. Or, you know, it takes courage also to sacrifice. You know, what is it that you're giving up, you know, that maybe you're afraid, or, you know, that you don't feel like you have the strength to do. And, you know, that is our grounding energy. So if you ever feel like this week that you're a little bit out of balance, or, you know, you can't really get centered, call on strength. You know, it's really, it's not taming the lion, it's befriending the lion, befriending and tending. And, you know, we're the figure in the card, but we are also the lion. So really just, you know, call on that to ground you. And then what we're called to reflect on is the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So this came up for us in the expansion contraction spread of like how we're being called to expand. So the Six of Pentacles in reverse to me suggests balancing out how much we're giving and receiving. So in the reverse, I see a big imbalance. Either we're giving too much, or we're receiving too much and we're not giving, you know, and that's natural. At times we can give more, you know, if our cup is a little bit, you know, fuller than the next person. But if you're running on empty, and okay, now it's making more sense with the Hangman, that in the reverse, that if you're running on empty, like you're sacrificing a little bit too much of yourself, and it might leave you a little bit depleted. So, you know, in the reverse, definitely make sure that there's reciprocity there. Like if you're giving and you're just burning out, then, you know, that's a good time to get back into that Hangman stance and, you know, hang upside down for a little bit, chill out. You know, and I know that right now we're not called to take a lot of rest, but it is necessary at times where you really do need to do that for yourself, so that, you know, you can keep going. Like we can't pour from an empty cup, right? So, you know, in order to put this back up right, the Six of Pentacles, where we can, you know, be of service, because this is going to be coming up a lot, that we need to tend to ourselves as well. So with the star, you know, being a renewal energy, you know, that's how we renew ourselves. Like, is there someone that can come in and give you some support so that you can be supportive of the next person, pay it forward, and on and on and on. So, wow, what we're releasing this week is the Seven of Cups. So, Seven of Cups is, you know, she's looking at all these options and she's contemplating, and, you know, to me, this is, you know, daydreaming and imagining, you know, using our imagination. And maybe it's not a time to, you know, be lost in la la land right now. You know, we're really asked to be plugged in. So, you know, in the release, maybe, you know, I see this more as a Seven of Cups in reverse, where it's illusion and confusion, you know, because upright, I don't see this as negative energy. I know some people, you know, read it as, you know, you're confused. I really think that's Seven of Cups in reverse. But in the release position, I really do read this more as a reversal of, like, you know, if you're confused about whether to stop or go, and you're really just, you know, running on fumes, that to really, you know, not be confused about whether you need to take a break and really renew yourself. So, you know, just really drop in, you know, and make sure you're doing regular check-ins with yourself. And when we're going, sometimes we don't, you know, stop and take a deep breath and say, hey, you know, what is it that I need right now that can really bring me back to my center? And what we're embracing is Wow, it's almost the same. Like we're embracing the Knight of Swords in reverse. So the Knight of Swords in the upright is very, to me is like very take charge, aggressive, moving fast, and taking charge. So if we're releasing the Seven of Cups and we're embracing the Knight of Swords in reverse, this to me says that we really do need to get grounded, with strength. I see this more as if we're embracing the Knight of Swords in reverse, we're looking kind of to the other knights. When I see court cards in the reverse, I instantly think like, am I looking to one of the other court cards in the same suit, or am I looking to one of the other suits? So you could be looking to the King of Swords or the Queen of Swords, like maybe a little bit more of a maturation of this swords energy. Or you could be looking to one of the other knights. So the Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Cups, Hangman is water energy. So with the Queen of Cups in reverse, I can see that too, like maybe looking to, that Cups energy instead of the Swords energy where we're so mental, right? And then the Knight of Pentacles where we're really, we're getting grounded, we're rooting. So, maybe this week that's what we need, where last week in the expansion contraction spread, the Knight of Pentacles was like our contractive energy. Maybe this is our energy that we're asked to be, looking to for renewal. So that's our spread for this week. And, I really just see this being a week to take a beat, so that we can keep going. Because, we're only 1 week down in this Justice Month. We have a lot more to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I have my Work Your Light Oracle deck and just see if I can get one last message for the week going forward. And I apologize if I seem a little bit scattered. I'm so tired. Like, I don't know if anybody else after this eclipse hasn't been sleeping well, but my sleep has not been the best, but I didn't want that to affect my ability to give you guys a message for the week. So, we're just rocking with what we got. And here we go. So we have the Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. So see, laying foundations, that's grounding energy. So let me look to the book and we can read it, because I'm not as familiar with these cards, but I really do like this oracle deck. So let's find page 88 and I'll read it to you so we can kind of know where we're at for this week. So Anna, grandmother of Jesus, was an ancient mystic who dedicated her life to laying the foundations for Christ consciousness. And, if you don't believe, if you're not Christian, just take what resonates and leave the rest, okay? Like, I really think that, our spirituality, we can still receive the messages that are meant for us. So, Christ consciousness to be woven through all of life. She is not widely known, but without her, Christ consciousness would not be rising as it is today. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world, wow, Seven of Cups, into being, while knowing they would not see their glorious end result. She represents the dutiful soldier, the unconditional mother, and the mystic who can see the thread that is woven through all of life. Anna teaches us that we all have a part to play in the divine plan. Oh my God, I couldn't have picked a better card. It doesn't have to be on the world stage to be significant. One person's part is not worthier than another. One person's part may be to mother their children. Another's may be to gather women in circle each month. No part is better or worse, more important or less significant. You guys, I'm shook, okay? We each have within us a seed of light that we incarnated to share. Anna is gathering for us all to remember and surrender to our part of the plan. Okay, so I mean that's really amazing. Like, keep the faith this week. Even though you're not seeing, the results of what we're building yet, it's coming. We're just beginning. We're laying the foundations, and this is really amazing. So I hope all of you have a really great week. Like, comment, and share. I'm going to be posting this on YouTube so that there will be captions. I'm also going to be posting it on IGTV just so there's some cross, and the people who don't visit YouTube don't miss the message. So it'll be both places. The captions won't be available right away on YouTube. It takes a little bit of time for those to be up. So I hope you all have a great week. I'll be posting the daily messages hopefully every day this week. So look for those on my Instagram feed. And I will talk to you next week. Take care, beautiful souls.